Hi guys, so welcome once again to the Coffin Heroes YouTube channel. Time now for another episode of What's in the Box. Got plenty of good deliveries in the last week or so. We're making our final preparations for getting the store reopened. So again, we've been sourcing lots of new great material for the store. Different single issues, different hardcover graphic novels. We're really looking at being busting at the seams essentially in the store for when we reopen, so we just want to get as much cool stuff in as possible. So yeah, it's another What's in the Box. I've got 5 or 6 boxes to get through here. A lot of cool stuff. So trusty Batarang at the ready. So kick things off here with this bad boy. Nice thick box. We'll just trusty Batarang that. So again, we've been looking at increasing the amount of compendiums, omnibuses, absolute editions, that kind of thing for the store. So this is what this box is going to be, a couple of new bits and pieces for that. So first of all, we have Wolverine Goes to Hell. This is a Marvel omnibus. A lot of great talent involved with this story. Jason Aaron on predominant writing duties and Andy Kubert on art. It's known as a bit of a starting point for Wolverine, though I would argue that a massive, omnibus that's quite pricey is probably not the best way to start with any character. But this looks really, really cool. A lot of great material in there. You've got Collect Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine 1-6. You've got the Wolverine 2010 series 1-20 and 300 to 304. You've got X-Men Schism in here 1-5 and material from Wolverine The Road to Hell. So yeah, a ton of great creators involved here, as well as the aforementioned Jason Aaron. You've also got Adam Kubert, Jason Latour, Michael Gaydos, Jimmy McKelvey, Steve Dillon, Daniel Acuna, Frank Cho, Alan Davis, Billy Tan. So tons of great guys involved with that. So that's the Wolverine Goes to Hell omnibus. The next one out is something very close to my own heart. Anyone who's been in the store, knows me well, even just through YouTube or podcasts or whatever, knows that one of my favorite series of all time, if not my favorite series of all time, is this bad boy. So what I have here is Y the Last Man, the complete omnibus. Let's just look at the size of that right there. Like, there's the size of my fist. Not that I have a particularly big fist, but this is the entire story. 60 issues. This is the first time ever, I believe, it's been completely collected. It's been available before in trade paperback form, in hardcovers. I myself have, of course, the Absolutes, which there's 3 of those. They only deal in 20 issues at a time, whereas this omnibus is all 60 issues. It is going to come in at quite pricey. It's around £130, £135. But the way that I would justify that, certainly that kind of expenditure, is that 60 issues, it's just over £2 an issue. And to be honest, this entire omnibus is probably cheaper than a Y the Last Man #1 first print. So it's a story all about, it's another post-apocalyptic story. It's to do with all the men in the world dying suddenly from some mystery disease or illness or whatever, except one man is left alive, a amateur magician and escape artist called Yorick Brown, and his pet monkey Ampersand. The world is basically left to women to rule, and it's a really interesting look at what would happen. Some go into politics, some are happy to be homemakers, some devolve into Amazonian stereotypes, some go into politics and try and rebuild the country. Some go into research into how to continue the human race. Obviously, if there's no men around, how can they continue to, procreate and actually keep repopulating the human race? So thoroughly brilliant storytelling. Brian K. Vaughan is the writer on this. Pia Guerrero was the artist. Brian K. Vaughan, again, he's a who's who of great stories when it comes to the comic industry, as well as Y the Last Man, the likes of Saga, the likes of Pride of Baghdad, Ex Machina as well. So I really, really cannot recommend that enough. It is one of the single best things ever written in any form. I wonder if it has the usual quote on the front. Yep, it's always synonymous with Y the Last Man. It's by Stephen King, and he says, the best graphic novel I've ever read. So I don't expect that to last long in store. So that will be on the shelves when we reopen. This one I'm going to leave to last. It's something pretty special in there for myself, but I'll share that with you guys at the end. So what else we got? It's another box here ready to go. So this is a single issue run for the store. Again, I'll always specify if these things are for me or for the store, but in this case, this is for the store. So what we have here is the complete Batman and Robin. So this is a really interesting storyline. This was set just after Batman RIP. This was when Bruce Wayne gets sent back through time and Dick Grayson took over as Batman, and you have the Damian Wayne Robin. Really interesting subversion of the main characters, because normally Batman is the grim Dark Knight and you've got a light-hearted, sort of jokey Robin when you had Dick Grayson in the role to sort of lighten the mood. Whereas with this, it's a lighter Batman and a darker Robin because it's Damian Wayne. It's really interesting when this came out. I remember seeing this on the shelves of a comic store in Sydney, Australia. I was living over there at the time when this came out, August 2009. I remember seeing it at the time and just loving that front cover. Frank Quitely artwork. But yeah, this is the entire run, so that'll all be bagged and boarded, presented, and ready to go when we reopen. What do we got next? So, another nice size package. Let's see. Nicely packed. I like that. That's a good start. So I have a sneaky suspicion this one's for me. Sorry guys. But what we have here is a blank page. No, it's not. We have here the complete run of Conan the Barbarian. This is from the Marvel relaunch that kicked off last year, with again Jason Aaron on writing duties and Mahmoud Asrar as the main artist on this series. I'll be honest, I'm not really a swords and sorcery guy. I'm not really a Conan guy. I really enjoyed the early Arnie movies, that kind of thing. But in comics, I just never really get into it. And, you know, if anybody who's listened to our podcast will know Keith and Roddy are big fans of this. So I reached the point where every single issue coming out, they were essentially saying this is one of the best issues of the week. This is awesome storytelling. So Roddy was kind enough to lend me the first 12 issues. And, you know, they sat beside my bed for a little while, obviously reading my pull list, reading the new releases. I had a couple of graphic novels I wanted to get through. But one night I just decided, right, I'll give this 3 issues and see what I think. If I like the first 3, I'll keep going. If I don't, I'll just hand it back and say, not my thing, but I appreciate it. The first night I read 7 issues in a row. Utterly captivating, brilliant storytelling. Each issue is almost like a one-shot, but it also ties all together as one big story as well. This is one of Marvel's strongest titles at the moment. Now, Jason Aaron has stepped away from it after 12 issues. Off the top of my head, I think it's Jerry Dugan took over, who was writing Savage Sword of Conan, which was a sister title to it. But I really can't recommend that enough. I'm nearly sure we've got the trades in the store as well. Got some of the back issues, but it might be a case of sourcing all of those at one point or another, but really can't recommend Conan enough. So we have another big box here. I'm pretty sure this is more omnibuses and so forth. So let's have a wee look. Oh, this is something really good actually. This is something I'd be tempted to keep for myself, but business must come first. So one of the things I noticed when we were redoing the store and redoing all the graphic novels and so forth was that unfortunately my DC bias had come to the fore. We've more DC graphic novels than Marvel in stock at the moment. So I'm doing my best to rectify that. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to focus on different characters, but I'm also looking at what are the sort of most famous stories. What are the biggest, and best Marvel stories of sort of the last, 50, 60 years. So anyone who knows me well knows Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. So I wanted to make sure that we had Daredevil Born Again in the store. Very classic Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli Daredevil story. But doing my research, I came across this, and this is a hefty bad boy. Oh. So what we have here is Daredevil by Frank Miller. So this is the complete Frank Miller Daredevil. This is again a who's who of artists that he worked with during this time. So you have every single volume of what Frank Miller wrote during his time at Marvel for Daredevil. And the artists he worked with, Klaus Janson, Bill Sienkiewicz, David Mazzucchelli, John Romita Jr. It's just exceptional. It is a beautiful book, so as well, or a beautiful little collection I should say. So what you've got here is Daredevil Marked for Death, Daredevil Gang War, Daredevil Last Hand, Born Again, Lives Again, Assassin, The Man Without Fear, and by Frank Miller, Companion. So I would imagine that will be lots of sort of single issue stories, that kind of thing tied into that. So this is going to be a big hefty bad boy price wise, but you are getting 100% quality with that. I can't recommend Frank Miller and Daredevil enough. It was really, really great stuff. That's sort of the main one I have, which is from before, a big compendium of all of the stories he did with Klaus Janson. Just ignore the bookmark on the top from the last time I was reading it. But yeah, if you want to get into Daredevil in a big way and you want something really comprehensive, that is going to be the way to go. So what else have we got? We've got a really big one. That's what she said. This is a massive one. So again, this package comes from, I know exactly what it is. This package comes from, again, my desire to get more Marvel stuff into the store. So one of my favorite Marvel stories of the last couple of years, and again, I credit Keith for introducing me to it. I would call it Marvel's equivalent of Watchmen. This is definitive brilliance. And again, I wanted a really special edition of this story in the store. So I'm just going to open it up here. I'll just hide behind it slightly, just given the size. I'm going to have to set it on the floor and just lift it up. Marvels. Marvels is essentially a story, it's by Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. And Marvels is essentially a story that goes through Marvel's entire history, but it's all from the point of view of a reporter who lives in New York. And he's essentially documenting these Marvels, you know, these superheroes he sees in the sky, or swinging from buildings, or fighting in the streets. It was originally a 4-issue miniseries. They did bring out a really cool Marvel's Annotated edition last year, where there was loads of behind the scenes stuff and commentary and sketches and that kind of thing. But this is just the original story in one ridiculously glorious, oversized special edition. You would definitely need a table to read this at, is all I'm going to say. And yeah, I mean, again, tempting to keep myself, but that's going to make a great centerpiece in the store. But if you're looking for a quick look through Marvel's history, some of its biggest, most important stories, this is unreal. I genuinely would put it up there with Watchmen in terms of importance, quality, and execution. So that is the Marvels. I believe Marvel call these like monster-sized editions, but you know, even for a guy who predominantly deals in absolutes and omnibuses, I'm impressed. So yep, that is Marvels. Don't even know where to set it. Alright, what else we got? We have a ridiculously special one. This one I know is for myself. So to give you a little bit of background to this story, I collect Batman Volume 1. That's my main passion, my main collection. I picked up another few issues for it today as well. But I've always looked at the really early ones, and they're properly expensive. You're talking hundreds and hundreds, in some cases thousands and thousands. So what I'm doing is working my way backwards. So there's 713 issues. I've got about 500 of them thereabouts. But as you go further back, they get more expensive. So recently, over this sort of period of time, we've been dealing with the pandemic and, you know, dealing with quarantine and so forth, spending that little less money because we're going out less and less. I have been just putting a little bit of money away, a little bit of money away, a little bit of money. And the idea was going to be to buy one of these really early issues. So I saw some early CGC ones. I saw sort of as early as Batman #6. That was what I was aiming for initially. And then I saved up enough to reach that point, and I started having a look at it. And I sort of thought to myself, why don't I maybe look at getting like a proper first appearance, big, massive key issue, something really special. I can't convey enough, guys. This is for my collection, by the way. So I wanted something really, really special. And got in touch with a few different comic stores over in the UK and sort of was feeling out what they had. And I ended up coming across this. As I said earlier, as I introduced the Frank Miller, Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. My other favorite character is the Silver Surfer. I just love that sci-fi stuff, you know, everything out amongst the stars, far away from planet Earth. This, you know, this herald who essentially saves his own planet but dooms so many more, and how do you live with that and the weight of those consequences, and just a character that really, really appeals to me. And you know, looking behind me, for example, you know, this is a more recent run, but that's one of my favorite omnibuses. That's the Dan Slott, Michael Allred, and Laura Allred edition, and that's some of the best storytelling you'll ever see. But I just love Silver Surfer, so I started looking and thinking maybe I could get a wee first appearance of Silver Surfer. Didn't have quite enough for first appearance of Daredevil, a little bit more, but that's next on the list. So I came across this. Now, first of all, I got to say this is a great little personalised touch as well from the guy I bought it off. His name's Nigel. Put a little personalised note in here saying, "Hi Alan, thanks for buying this classic issue. I've included the graders notes from CGC. Hope it arrives safely and that you're happy with it. Cheers, Nigel." So what I got for myself was a CGC. An absolutely glorious one. Just look at that. Now, it being in the bag doesn't do it justice. So let's just take it out of there if I can safely remove the cell tape. So what we have here is Fantastic Four number 48. So this is from 1966. This is the first appearance of Silver Surfer and also the first appearance of Galactus. You just see this beautiful cover, Fantastic Four standing there, them all looking up at the sky, pointing, what is it they see? And when the opportunity came along to get this, I couldn't turn it down. I do find this hilarious, despite my obvious DC and well-known DC bias, that the first big massive purchase I've made in a long time was Marvel, but there you go. So this now becomes one of the sort of crown jewels of my personal collection. It's an issue that's only gonna, you know, go up in value over time, but it's not even about that for me. I don't tend to buy an awful lot of comics as investments. You know, I sort of joke that my Batman Volume 1 collection will be my retirement fund in, you know, 30 years. Quiet at the back who said it'll be sooner than that. But this was just for the pure joy of it. When this arrived, I swear, I felt like, you know, 10-year-old again, just opening up this mail, really excited, ripping the packaging off. Carefully, of course. When I saw it, it just brought such joy. So I'm really, really chuffed with this, I have to say. You don't see it around too often. You'll see it in raw form a little bit more, but these sort of nice CGC editions, you know, just look at that, you know, Jack Kirby cover and art, Stan Lee's story. I mean, that's essentially history you're holding in your hands right there. And yeah, I was really, really chuffed to get that. So if you see it in the store for sale one day, you've now fallen on hard times. I hope that won't be the case, but I just thought I'd share it with you guys and just let you have a little look. But yeah, pride and joy right there. Fantastic Four, number 48. So yeah, so just a little something extra there to show you at the end of the what's in the box. Everything else is pretty much going into the store, Conan aside, of course. But yeah, some really, really great stuff there. Again, we're really working hard to source as much cool stuff as possible for the store, give you as much choice as possible when you come back to us once we get open again on the 22nd of June. So yeah, hope you guys dug this little video. I'll no doubt have plenty more what's in the box coming soon, including a big one next week, because there's a rather big delivery coming next week as well for the store of new releases, and there is some absolute quality stuff coming. So in the meantime, as I say, hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to spread the word on our YouTube channel, comment if you like, subscribe if you like. But until next time, stay safe out there. Take it easy.